If there is one rule to being a lover girl, it's that you have to be back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help women with anxious attachment styles get to a more secure version of themselves, gain the inner confidence, and let go of anything that's not serving them. If you have not done so already, please sign up for my newsletter. Also, my 8-week transformation program. We are cooking. Okay, we have girls already signed up for the month, so I only have a few spots left. Need a few more girls. So this is your sign. If you've ever thought about it, go on the link in my bio, apply for my 8-week transformation program so that you can become and step into the best version of yourself, so you can stop the self-sabotaging. You can set boundaries easily without breaking them. Be the lover girl that you are, but just a detached lover girl who actually has control over her own life. Again, hit the link in my bio. Let's get into it because I have a crazy story time. That this is not the first time that I've told a story like this. And if you want to go back in the archives, not in the archives, but like long ago, I spoke about another situation where this happened. But honestly, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one. I don't know why this happens. 4 out of the 5 times that I have flown from Miami to London, something crazy has happened on that flight. And I think it's to the point where I'm just expecting something to happen. The only time that I didn't meet someone on this plane has been the one time that I flew to go meet some guy in London. Almost every time I'm flying on some eclipse. So I feel like it's I don't know, life trying to teach me some kind of lesson, life trying to be like, hey, look, we're going to test you one more time, see if you're going to fall into the same patterns that you did before. So I had recently went home to Miami, and on my trip, I spent a couple of weeks in Miami, and then I flew from Miami to London. I wanted to do just a couple days in London just as a Passover while I was flying back to Dubai. And I think when I honestly was flying to London, I was just like, you know what? I really don't even want to go anymore. I'm tired. I want to go back home to Dubai. I don't want to do this, but something in me was like, just do it. I already have the flight booked. So the day before I was checking in for my flight, I go online and I have this weird thing from this flight. I don't know what it is about just this flight from Miami to London. I get lightheaded. The first time I passed out fully on the floor, fell into the arms of a flight attendant. And meanwhile, that flight, I had actually met a flight attendant on that flight, and he was rubbing my shoulders, trying to make me feel better and whatever. It was a whole thing. He's irrelevant now. While I was checking into my flight online, I specifically chose a seat that was an aisle seat that was close to the bathroom in case I started to feel lightheaded. I could just walk up, go to the bathroom, freshen up, and make myself fine again. Probably really isn't the most ideal seat for most people. I think most people would prefer the window seat, but I honestly needed the aisle. I get into the check-in counter the next day. I'm checking in my bags, and he's like, oh, I just moved your seat from this seat to this seat. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I did not want that to happen. I chose the seat specifically for a reason. And he's like, oh, well, don't you want to be on the upper deck? It's a nice plane. You should be on the upper deck. And I was like, fine, put me on the upper deck. Something in me was like, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Something's going to happen. At least put me on an aisle. He did. I walk in, I walk through security. I'm sitting down and I'm FaceTiming my friend, and I'm looking around at my flight, and I'm like, damn, there's not a single soul on this plane that's attractive. And it's the biggest flight. There's not a soul that I'm a sliver interested in. Then I go to the bathroom right before my flight, and I walk out, and I made eye contact with this guy who's brushing his teeth in line. And I'm like, that's a little strange. He couldn't make it to the bathroom, and yes, I love good hygiene. That's great. You couldn't just make it to the bathroom. It's a little strange. I gave him a weird look, and we made eye contact, and I sat down kind of close to the bathroom because there were some empty seats. As he's coming out, we make eye contact again. Something probed me to say something to this man, and I really just was feeling talkative. So I was open. I was like, oh, are you all good? Are you all clean? And he's like, yeah, I hate getting on the plane with dirty teeth. I need to brush my teeth before I get on. And then he put his stuff away. He comes back over to me, and he's like, you can go change your seat actually, because there's a lot of extra space on this plane. And I just got a full row to myself. And I was like, that's so cool. Where are you sitting? He pulls out his boarding pass. I pull out my boarding pass. We had a moment. I look at mine. I look at his. It's both row 76. What are the odds? This is not the first time this has happened to me. me either. I was like, no way. I'm like, is this fate? Like, are we supposed to sit together? And then he's like, honestly, you can sit in my row if you want. And there was like an obvious vibe. We board the plane. We sit next to each other. It's a row of 4 seats. So there's like, I leave a seat in between us, just like create a little space. And we talked for basically the entire 8 hours. I think there was maybe an hour where we slept, which is literally deja vu from my last time this has happened to me. After like an hour, we were way too comfortable with each other, like literally obsessed with each other. And I knew right away, like, first of all, any man that is way too touchy-feely, way too like all over you, probably isn't your husband. Like, sorry to break the news to you, but if he's way too comfortable with like affection that early on, and like a lot of affection too, we're like literally making out on the plane, cuddling, I'm resting my head on his shoulder. And I'm doing this, by the way, I'm going to have a brief intermission and let's talk about this. You need to vet these men early on. Okay. And if you realize that he's pushing boundaries a little bit, he's maybe not treating you the best. And I'm not saying that this guy wasn't treating me well at all. That's not the case, because he was very like kind on this plane. You notice that he's like a little too cheeky, a little too flirty, a little too like, you don't know internally that you can fully trust him. Trust that, okay? Put him in the fun box. You now have the opportunity to have fun and let it be what it is. Don't stress out about it. Or you put him in the other box, which is like the potential box, the box of potential that can potentially be something that turns into something serious. You don't put him in the husband box day one. Never do that. That spot is reserved for someone who has proved themselves. There's only 2 boxes. There's the fun box, the potential box. No in between. Keep it black and white. I knew right away, just because of how like cheeky he was, how flirty he was, and like how affectionate he was that early on, I couldn't place him in my potential box. I had to place him in the fun box. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to have fun this flight. We're going to chat it up. We're going to cuddle. We're going to have a little makeout. We're going to have a flirt. I told the story on TikTok and some guy wrote and was like, this goes against everything that you preach about. And I'm like, it actually doesn't. If you want to have fun and you know that it's just fun, you're detached from the outcome, you're just letting it be what it is, you know what? It is fine. Let it be what it is. I owe no one anything. And I think what people don't understand is really what I'm trying to preach comes down to a few things. Build your confidence up so that you don't let anyone walk all over you, so that you feel like your best self when you go on dates, so that you have fun dating. And then don't tolerate any bullshit from anyone else. Don't be attached to anyone. Like, just live your life. That's literally it. Make your own choices. I'm not going into that situation like, okay, well, this is my husband. No, absolutely not. While we were talking, we're kind of like dropping hints. And he was like, oh, you know, I always said my future wife is from Miami. And I was like, oh my God, I always said my future husband was from the UK. Again, in the back of my head, I'm like, I know this is probably nothing, but like, I'm just gonna have fun. Whatever. It is what it is. Because I'm not attaching my feelings and emotions to it. It was really hot and heavy. And again, the hot and heavy early on is a sign that you're probably with the wrong one. If he's giving you butterflies, if he's making you tingle inside, it's probably a warning sign. Your nervous system is warning you. But I feel like this happened, honestly, because I feel like life wanted me to have a redo of the situation that happened like a couple years ago where I met this guy on a plane. We was flying from Miami to London and we sat in the same seats. We talked for the entire 8 hours. We went on a date that night. It was like all consuming and I was so attached. I liked this guy so much. It messed me up. Honestly, for a year, this guy was just like on my mind constantly. I'm like, what could have happened? What could have happened? What could have happened? When things broke off, we broke off because I was basically told him that, you know, eventually I do have to go back to America. Realized he's like, okay, this is actually then going probably nowhere and I'd rather just leave it where it is than to attach feelings to it. And anyway, that ended up in him blocking me, which is funny because men only block you when they love you. As long as you're not the one that's like crazy reaching out to him all the time, like annoying him and like being that psychotic girl, which is fine if you are, but like, chill, come to me, see me if you need help. All I'm saying is that you won and that he loves you. But with that being said, he blocked me and I just, for the longest time, I'm like, what was that? And he was so avoidant too. And I think that's probably why I was so attached to him and really wanted things to work out. There was part of me that was like also emotionally unavailable and was chasing after this guy that like was emotionally unavailable himself. I think this guy came into my life to let me do things differently this time. Really, this whole episode is about standing on business. I want every woman to feel this way of the story, the part of the story that happens next. We get off the plane. He's like, let me take your number. Let's do something. I want to see you for sure again before you leave. As I'm walking away, he's like, if we get the wrong number, find me on Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. The first red flag is that he didn't follow me back, but he liked a bunch of my pictures. And I'm like, don't love that. Like, okay, I didn't realize you were a whole celebrity, whatever. That was the first red flag. And then he was like, yeah, I definitely want to see you again. And then he gave me like the times he was free. I said when I was free, and we tried to make something happen. Like the first night I was like, honestly, I'm way too tired. We didn't get any sleep on the red eye. So we had been up for over 24 hours. I rested the first night. The second night, we were supposed to get together and he's like, I have an event that goes on until 11 p.m. Going to be a little bit later. Do you want to come over? Second red flag. I was like, absolutely not. Definitely not my thing. Don't do the home thing. So he was like, okay, no worries. Alternatively, you can come out with my friend is leaving to leave to another country tomorrow. Want to just go out with us tomorrow? And I was like, don't love that you're not planning a date. But then I'm like, I had a moment with myself and I was like, Gabby, you put him in the fun box. There's zero expectations in the fun box. Zero expectations, meaning you don't expect a text from him. You don't expect to see him. You don't expect him to show up for you. You don't expect him to plan dates for you. You accept him for who he is and what he does. And if you have a problem with that, then you can skirt on in the other direction and leave him behind. You know what? I have nothing to do that night. Like, absolutely, let's do it. 10 p.m. rolls around. I'm like getting ready. I'm like, okay, when should I meet you guys there? And he's like, oh, we're heading there in a little bit. And then he messages me when they're there. And I'm like, thinking about all these things that are happening, I'm like, why am I even entertaining this? Like, I'm tired. I want to get to bed. It's late. You said that you were going to be there 30 minutes ago and you're taking your time. You're not communicating where you're at. He messages me when he's there and he's like, hey, are you coming? And at that point, I was like, honestly, I don't even want to go anymore. So I messaged him and I was like, hey, think we're just looking for different things. No worries. Like, I'm just going to relax here for the night, but enjoy your night. Like, I hope you have fun with your friends. Mind you, before earlier in the day, he's like, send me your address. I thought he meant send me your address because I'm like going to send a car to pick you up. Meanwhile, he just like wanted to see like where I was in proximity to like where they were going. And I was like, okay, don't love that. Had high expectations. You lowered down. I'm like, okay, again, fun box, we're fine. I messaged him my address when I ended things and I was just like, look, we're looking for different things. He messages me back and he's like, no, please come. I have to see you before you leave. I ignored it because I was just could not be bothered, honestly, at this point. When this happened, an hour or two later, it was like, I'm coming over. And I forgot that earlier in the day I'd sent him my address. So I was just like, I ignored it. And then he called me and he's like, hey, I'm at your door. Like, I just wanted to say bye. I don't want to come in. I just want to like say goodbye before you leave. Part of me was like, that is actually so cute. And then another part of me was like, I feel like that's a little bit overstepping. And like, also, I think he was waiting for me to invite him in because he was being this like charming gentleman by showing up to my door and like, oh, I'm not going to come in, would tease me a little bit. Like, oh, I can't even come in for like a glass of water or something like that, or like a juice. And I was like, absolutely not. You're not coming up. Honestly, I'm so good here. I need a man. I'm really at the point now of standing on business of like, I need a man to really show up for me. The old me would have been like, I don't care how late it is. I need to see this man. Like, the connection was undeniable. And I think the older I'm getting, the more coaching clients I have, the more work I've done on myself, the more solid I am about really knowing the game. You can have a connection with so many people, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, some people really are just this like sparky, magnetic energy that you're drawn to. And I think a lot of times when you are drawn to someone, it's really just your soul wanting some type of lesson from that person. Like, they're triggering something inside of you that you need to fix, or that you need to address, or that you need to learn from. And I really think this happened again because like my last time that this happened, I'm like, there's so many things that I wish I did differently. And I think I really stood on business this time of like, this isn't my person. Yes, we had a great connection. Yes, it was super magnetic. Like, we both said that we wanted the same thing. So like, why would it not work out? But I think you got to be real with yourself of like, do I even trust this person? And my friend called me out too, because when I was getting ready to go out with them, I was panicking. I was like, oh my God, what do I wear? I'm like frantic. I'm like freaking out. And for what reason? Why am I stressing myself out over someone I know that isn't my husband? Yes, maybe he did put in the extra work to come to me, to show up at my door, but what does that really mean? Like nothing. Really, he drove 20 minutes out of his way to say goodbye. That was really it. If he really was intentional with me, okay, he would have planned a date. He would have been like, I need to know exactly when you're free so that I can make time to see you. I will clear up some of my schedule, even if it's just to see you for a little bit and take you out on a little bit of a date. No, there was none of that. It was come out with my friends. It was, hey, come over, invite me on an actual date, and maybe I'll consider taking you seriously. Listen, you have to understand and place these men in boxes very early on. And if you don't, you're only working yourself up over the wrong things, and you're only stressing yourself out over nothing. If you know that this man is like very flirty and sparky and there's some kind of pull to him, there's something there that you need to learn. And I just feel like I want every woman to feel how good it feels to stand on business and be like, actually, this isn't what I want and this isn't what I deserve. And I deserve something that's going to be great and something that someone who's going to be sure about me, something that's going to actually stand the test of time. I don't want to waste my time or energy anymore on bullshit. And because of that, I'm standing on business. I'm walking into the most healed version of myself. Literally, I just don't care anymore. I just want every woman to feel how powerful it feels to take her power back and be like, actually, I'm good here. Actually, this doesn't work for me. Actually, I'm going to set some boundaries and stick to them. And this is not something that I'm willing to tolerate or accept. It feels so amazing to have control over the situation as opposed to letting someone else control the dynamic and control your emotions. Have this kind of like chokehold over your emotions. My emotions are at a high when he's good with me, or my emotions are at a low when he ignores me. Stop tying your value, your emotional state over someone else, because every single time you're gonna fail. I guess this was more of a story time. I feel like I'll leave it at that. And honestly, if there's anything that you take away from this, is to stand on business. If this person has a great connection with you, but they're lacking in how they show up for you after the fact, trust how they're showing up for you as opposed to your emotions about this person, because your emotions will lead you astray every single time. But with that being said, I will see you all next week. Again, leave that 5-star rating, hit that thumbs up. There's a rating system wherever you're watching this. And if you enjoyed this episode, if you want more content like this, just a little thumbs up keeps me going. So please leave some love, and I promise it'll circle back around to you. So with that being said, I'll see you all next week.